Ken, it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSI Services, CBSI Talking Business, another episode of our series, Talk with the Leaders in the field of digital marketing, banking, insurance, customer service, and business education. All to highlight our team at CBSI. We're in Harrison, New York. We provide insurance-based benefits to the credit card and payments industry. Now, we check off a couple of our favorite categories by talking today with our friend Ruth Stevens, past president of the Now Marketing Club of New York, an instructor at NYU, teaches all over the world and has her own company, and that is eMarketing Strategy. Ruth, how are you today?
Great, Ken. Trying to keep cool like everybody else in the world, but it's really fun to have a summer, isn't it?
Absolutely, it is now a warm, hot time in much of the United States. But Ruth, you had a great trip, a teaching trip to Europe. You taught in Poland, and what a place to be. Tell us a little bit about your trip going to teach in Poland.
It was such a thrill for me, Ken. I was invited to teach at an ancient university called Jagiellonian, that's spelled Jagiellonian, and it's named for a duke from Lithuania named Władysław Jagiełło, who hooked up with the Queen of Poland. This was in the 1400s. They married and merged their two small countries and created a massive empire where I think it was called the Ukrainian Polish Empire, that lasted for 100 years and was kind of Poland's own top of the heap moment within centuries of being overrun by everybody else. So I was just struck being in Krakow by how present the Middle Ages are in the minds of everybody there. And for us Americans, for whom 100 years, 150 years is old, being at a university that was founded in 1364 was really a thrill for me. And the students were terrific. I taught a class called B2B Digital Marketing. And I had about 20 students in the class, students from all over the world, mostly Poles and nearby countries. But of course, the big deal in Poland then was they're having welcomed millions of Ukrainians, and that's still going on. It's quite an amazing contribution the Poles have made to supporting their neighbor.
That's right. Certainly a terrible conflict in Ukraine, a border of Poland, and a remarkable job by the Polish people taking in hundreds of thousands, millions of the evacuees from Ukraine. What was some of the commentary that you heard about the conflict while you were in Poland?
Well, most of the people I knew were hosting Ukrainian people, mostly women, and they were all so selfless, the Poles. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, their generosity is going to wear out eventually, but I didn't see any sign of that. I saw more kind of resigned kindness, that they recognized that this is something that needed to be done, and they stepped up.
What an example of selflessness by the Polish people. And tell us a little bit about the courses, and how do you apply your knowledge of business-to-business marketing from perhaps a U.S. perspective to a European environment?
Oh, great question. The way I do it is by talking about principles and business buying behavior. Frankly, most of your 20-something students have not picked up yet on concepts like buying behavior, buying journeys, buying groups, which is, of course, of extreme importance, critical importance in the B2B world, where you're not really selling to an individual, you're selling to an account. And usually inside a company, there's a group that's designated to make purchase decisions about major investments like IT or raw materials or even professional services. So those groups need to be known to us. Who are the members? What is their role in the group? What's on their minds, so that we can communicate with them effectively. And that's really a new concept for people who haven't been exposed to B2B before. So and it's universal in business buying, except for very small businesses where a single individual is making the decisions. It's common worldwide, and a concept that they can really take on into their careers and put to use.
What kind of companies do you expect the students will apply their university experience in your class to?
Yeah, all kinds. And one of the reasons I particularly am devoted to teaching B2B marketing to graduate students is that more than 50% of them are likely to end up in B2B environments. But when they're in their 20s, they don't realize that. They're still thinking like consumers, and they expect that if they go into a marketing or sales role, it'll be selling to consumers. And it's actually not the way things mostly work out. So I consider myself a bit of a proselytizer about how fun and challenging B2B selling really is. So I was lucky enough to have a student from, I'm trying to think of which nearby country she came from. I can't think of it now, but she was already working for a French company that sells industrial insulation. So we actually used her company as a case example in our class, and she would explain their products and their target audiences, who were mostly architects and construction companies, naturally. And we would craft, marketing communications to try to communicate the benefits of and the competitive differentiation of their insulation versus the competition. That's really fun.
Very good. Now, this fall, you will be back teaching at New York University, where you have been an instructor for a number of years.
Right.
What are you preparing for your students at NYU this fall?
Thanks. Yes, I've been teaching at the Stern School of Business, mostly to MBA candidates, and for several years now, about almost 10 years. And I'm teaching the marketing core course this fall, and on Saturday mornings, and then on Mondays and Wednesday mornings, I'm teaching new product development, which is a favorite topic of mine. I go out of my way to explain to students that this is not about entrepreneurship, except it's related. It's not about startups. It's about how existing companies can develop growth strategies around introducing successful new products into the marketplace. So that involves lots of process and lots of tools and frameworks that I explain in the course to help them understand the market opportunity and develop ideas and test them, prototype them, and take them to market. So it's a pretty popular course, and I enjoy it.
How has product development changed in this world of digital marketing, digital communications? Didn't have mobile phones really the way we have now 10 years ago. How has digital changed things?
Well, how it's changed my world of academics and developing curricula is that the word product today, or product management, or new products, is usually viewed as an entirely digital discussion. And I'm kind of involved in trying to pull it back to a broader context where it can mean tangible and intangible services and products, but they're not all necessarily digital, because some of the greatest product developers are CPG companies, right? So which understand they need to be introducing, if not just variations of existing shampoo and razors, but also entirely new products to satisfy trends and changing consumer tastes.
And Ruth, you've got an article out on business to business, big ideas, and bizology.com. Tell us a little bit about your recent article.
Thank you. I have had my travel wings clipped like everybody else the last couple of years. So I was really thrilled to have an opportunity to attend not one, but 2 conferences in early June. So I summarized the conclusions I had come to from those conferences in the article. It's called Big Ideas for B2B or something like that. And it's also been picked up by the customer.net and also customerthink.com. So it's pretty easy to find right now online. And the thing that really stood out for me in both of these conferences, one was a B2B conference from the UK called Ignite B2B, and the other was organized, it was called Integrate, and it was organized by West Virginia University in Morgantown, West Virginia. And I am involved with them because they sponsor the podcast that Cindy Greenglass and I have been running for more than a year. It's called Marketing Horizons. And I was thrilled to attend their annual face-to-face events, which is for students and faculty, administrators, and various guests like myself. But given my several days, 4 or 5 days at both Integrate and Ignite, a pretty clear theme was running through both of these, which is about the softer side of marketing. Themes like purpose, and Mark Schaefer was a keynoter at Integrate. He said, the most human company wins. I was thinking, gee, and, for B2B marketers, it's really hard to be human, because not only because you're a company and you're selling to another company, but of course there are people underneath that corporate umbrella. So the themes that of these softer themes for sales and marketing really do resonate today. And they also tend, I think, to attract younger employees and career seekers for whom purpose and changing the world and devoting my time to something that I believe in is more important than ever. So, while us oldsters are mostly about demand gen and, let's get some business going here, and what kind of average order size can we hope for? We need to be thinking about this softer side for both customer reasons and employee reasons.
Very good. Well, certainly the need to be socially responsible and socially conscious is so important today. Now, one question I wanted to ask you, we've been covering a lot in the community banking space, is what has been learned by business-to-business companies during the pandemic. We've had speakers say that there was a 3-year advancement in the acceptance of digital communications, online servicing during the pandemic, frankly, in a matter of months back in 2020. What do you see as learning that business has accumulated during the pandemic that they're going to utilize going forward?
Yeah, that point about digital absorption or adoption is true in B2B as it is everywhere. And one of the most obvious manifestations of that is our lack of ability to travel, and that we're realizing that our travel budgets can be a lot smaller, and we can still be effective sales and marketing practitioners thanks to technologies like Zoom. But a corollary theme that has come up is that point of the importance of retention. And B2B marketers have been really neglectful over the years in recognizing that marketing has a lot to offer on the retention side: customer development, customer penetration, account expansion, where much of the responsibility for those functions, where basically most of the profits come from, have been delegated to a sales function. And marketing has been focused, and understandably so, because salespeople are demanding new business. So marketers have been all about leads, give me leads. And they, I think, have a bigger role to play in current customer marketing and B2B, and that's starting to be recognized. For more than 10 years, Crane's B2B magazine used to publish an annual a survey about the relative budget allocation between acquisition and retention in B2B marketing departments, and it was 85-15 or close to it for many years. And
85% on acquisition. Wow.
Yeah. And when you look at the kind of priorities and job one of a B2B marketing department, it's still leads, but now it's more about quality of leads, and it's also increasingly about retention, account penetration, and that it has been supported by this relatively new approach called account-based marketing, where sales and marketing come together to develop and expand key accounts together. But I do give COVID some, acknowledgement for leaving us with an understanding of the importance of that we hadn't had in the past.
Well, Ruth Stevens, great to talk with you again today and hear about your trip to Poland and getting out to a couple of business-to-business conferences. Do you have a final thought for us today?
All right. I'm always so happy to talk to you, Ken, and appreciate your inviting me. I think the B2B marketing world is brighter than ever, and I'm hoping that young entrants will appreciate how much fun and how challenging it can be as a career. So thanks for the opportunity to talk about it.
No, I've certainly enjoyed my opportunities in business marketing, which have been most of my career. Ruth Stevens, the president of eMarketing Strategy based in New York, professor, instructor at New York University Stern School, teaches at universities all around the world, and great to visit with you again today.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon. And this is Ken Kraetzer for CBSI and CBSI Talking Business. We provide insurance-backed benefits in the credit card and payments industry, and it is our 50th anniversary we're celebrating this year. So thank you to Ruth Stevens. Thank you for watching. We'll look forward to another episode very soon.